Ever walked past a bank and wondered about the story behind its name? Like, how did it even come to be? Today, we're diving deep into the history of one of the largest banking institutions in the United States, Truist Bank. It's a name that might sound relatively new, and that's because the bank itself is the result of a fairly recent merger. But the story behind its formation is a fascinating tale of two established financial powerhouses coming together. Before we get into the details of the merger that created Truist, it's important to understand the landscape of banking in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. The banking industry was undergoing significant consolidation. Smaller banks were being acquired by larger ones, creating these behemoths of finance. This trend was driven by several factors, including deregulation, increased competition, and the desire to achieve economies of scale. Basically, bigger banks could operate more efficiently and offer a wider range of services. So, where do the two halves of Truist come from? The two banks that merged to form Truist were BB&T and SunTrust. Let's start with BB&T. Its roots go all the way back to 1872 in Wilson, North Carolina, with the founding of the branch and Hadley Bank. Over the next century, the bank grew steadily, primarily within North Carolina. In 1913, it became Branch Banking and Trust Company, the name that would become so familiar to many. BB&T continued its expansion through numerous acquisitions of other banks, primarily in the Southeast. This strategy of growth through acquisition became a hallmark of BB&T's approach, allowing it to steadily increase its market share and geographic footprint. Now, let's turn our attention to SunTrust. SunTrust's history is a bit more complex, involving the merger of two other large banking entities. In 1891, the Commercial Travelers Savings Bank was founded in Atlanta, Georgia. This bank would eventually become Trust Company of Georgia. Another key player in SunTrust's history was the First National Bank of Atlanta, which was established in 1865. In 1985, these two Atlanta-based banks, Trust Company of Georgia and First National Bank of Atlanta, merged to form SunTrust Banks Incorporated. This merger created a major banking force in the Southeast, with a strong presence in Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. SunTrust, like BB&T, also pursued a strategy of growth through acquisition, further solidifying its position in the banking world. By the early 2000s, both BB&T and SunTrust had become significant regional players in the banking industry. They had overlapping market areas, particularly in the Southeast, and they were both facing similar challenges and opportunities. The financial crisis of 2008 had a profound impact on the banking industry, leading to increased regulation and a need for greater stability. This environment further encouraged consolidation as banks sought to strengthen their balance sheets and improve their efficiency. In February 2019, BB&T and SunTrust announced their intention to merge in what was described as a merger of equals. This wasn't a case of one bank acquiring the other. It was a strategic partnership designed to create a stronger, more competitive institution. The merger was projected to create the sixth largest bank in the United States based on assets. This was a massive undertaking, requiring the integration of two complex organizations with different systems, cultures, and customer bases. The newly merged bank needed a new name, something that would represent the union of these two powerful entities. After extensive research and consideration, they landed on Truist. The name was chosen to evoke feelings of trust, optimism, and purpose. It was a forward-looking name intended to represent the combined bank's commitment to its customers and communities. The merger was officially completed in December 2019, and the transition to the Truist brand began. This involved a massive rebranding effort, including changing signage at branches, updating online platforms, and integrating customer accounts. It was a complex and time-consuming process, but it was essential for creating a unified identity for the new bank. The merger of BB&T and SunTrust to form Truist wasn't just about size, it was also about creating a more competitive and innovative bank. The combined entity could leverage the strengths of both predecessor institutions, offering a wider range of products and services, investing in new technologies, and expanding its reach. This merger was a strategic move designed to position Truist for long-term success in a rapidly changing financial landscape. The creation of Truist Bank is a significant event in the history of American banking. It represents the culmination of decades of growth, acquisition, and strategic decision-making by two established financial institutions. It's a story of how the banking landscape has evolved, with mergers and consolidations creating larger and more complex entities. It's a reminder that even established institutions must adapt and innovate to remain competitive in a dynamic market. The story of Truist is still being written as the bank continues to integrate its operations and pursue its strategic goals. It will be interesting to see how Truist continues to evolve in the years to come and the impact it has on the banking sector as a whole. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.